Hey everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a nice big 10-game NBA slate for you. Before I get started, can you guys smash that like and subscribe button? So this slate is big and it has a lot of injuries. So let's go and get an injury report here. For Toronto, quickly is doubtful. Barrett is out. Brown is out. Olynyk is out. For the Pelicans, Murray and Murphy are out. For the Golden State Warriors, Green and Curry are both questionable, so it's Melton. For the Philadelphia 76ers, Embiid and PG-13 are out. For the Hornets, Miller, Mark Williams, and Josh Green, Miller and Mark Williams are out, and Josh Green's questionable. For Memphis, Jaren Jackson is doubtful, and Kennard and Greg Jackson are out. For Milwaukee, Middleton is out. For Detroit, Thompson is out. For Atlanta, Bogdanovich is out. For the Knicks, Robinson and Achua are out. For the Brooklyn Nets, Bogdanovich is out. For the Cleveland uh, Cavs, Struss is out. For Portland, Sharp and Williams and Thibault are out. And then for the Bulls, Lonzo Ball is out. So let's look at our point guards here. So we have LaMelo Ball as our top overall play at this position. He looks pretty solid today. He has obviously a high ceiling and a low floor, but when he is playing well in a good matchup, he definitely has that potential. He's also going to go head to head with Trae Young, and I think they may go back and forth a lot. I do expect this game to be a fast-paced, high-scoring game, and I expect both point guards to do well. But Ball does seem a little bit safer here, and he looks like a solid option on the slate. Looking at Dyson Daniels. Let's see, Dyson. He can play point guard or shooting guard today for Atlanta. He's going to get some decent minutes here, I believe, as he started the season pretty good. And he should get some opportunity here, though he is a little pricey. And you have to note that his last game, a lot of his fantasy points came from 5 steals. I don't expect him to continue that, so he does need to score some more points, but he's definitely capable of it today in a positive matchup in a high scoring game. Jalen Suggs looks interesting for Orlando. Now, he's not somebody that gets a ton of minutes all the time, but he is capable of a solid game here, and he's priced pretty fairly today. And he's got a decent matchup against Brooklyn. I don't expect this game to be super high scoring, but I do think he has some utility here. Cody Martin for Charlotte looks like a fantastic play. He's actually a really cheap option today. He should get plenty of minutes with the matchup here, uh, especially with the injuries to the Hornets, and he should have some upside. Though I do think him or Trey Mann are going to have a lot of potential. One of those guys is definitely going to have a big game, but it's just like which guy. I just think I think Martin has a little bit safer. Not only that, but he can also play at the small forward position as well. And so, with this position at point guard being pretty deep today, you can definitely move him in small forward, which is not nearly as deep and gives you some upside here. He's also fared well against Atlanta in the past, and he's nice and cheap at sub 4,000 play, $4,000. So he is somebody I'm really going to try to roster today. Jalen Brunson also in play for the point guards. He's a little bit more expensive, or a little bit less expensive, sorry, than Ball, but he does have just as much kind of upside, though he did struggle in his first game this season. I look for him to be a good contrarian play in a positive matchup here against Indiana. Looking at shooting guards, Kelly Oubre uh, looks really good here for Philly with the injuries there. He should have plenty of opportunity, and he has a good 5x potential, though he probably won't score a ton more than that. So do keep that in mind. But he's got a very favorable match with Toronto. Austin Austin Reeves looks interesting today for the Lakers. He definitely draws some potential today, though he's a boom or bust play a lot of times. Being the fact he's inconsistent, he has struggled some against Phoenix last season, so do keep that in mind. But he is capable of a good game here, and with some of the other big guys out, he's going to have some utility on the slate to get plenty of minutes. Then we'll look at Devin Booker. Booker has started the season pretty rough in his first game, but I also think it was a tougher matchup. Now he gets the Lakers, who he can do a lot better against. I think he's in a solid spot here, and he has a high ceiling. The Lakers struggle defensively, and so that's going to give him a lot of potential on the slate. Dyson Daniels can also play shooting guard, and then Trey Mann, who I also kind of mentioned when I was talking about Cody Martin. He can play in here. He had a good first game. I look for him to have some potentially good games this season. I wish he was a little bit cheaper like Cody Martin is, so I think I'm gonna slide with Cody Martin today. But Man is a good option away from him if you want to cover the same team and same upside. Looking at small forwards, LeBron does jump off the page today as a solid play. Now, LeBron is a player I don't typically like to use in fantasy, but I do like to use him when the matchup is close because basically what you're banking on fantasy wise is he's going to try to win the game in the fourth quarter if it's a tight game. And this game should be a tight one, so I think he's going to have some opportunity here. But, like some games, he'll get less minutes because he won't play much in the fourth if the game's out of hand. Looking at Josh Hart, for the Knicks, he's going to have an opportunity here to have a big game with some of the injuries. I do think he's capable of a solid game here, and he's still a little bit cheaper than I expect him to be at this point in the season. So he's somebody that you can roster, though he does have a low floor. Kelly Oubre and Cody Martin can also play at this position. And then DeAndre Hunter is kind of a guy that I've used in the past a lot in fantasy. Now, he's a little bit pricey today, but he's definitely capable of a solid game, though he does have a low floor. He did get a good start last season, and this game should be high scoring and give him some opportunity on the slate. Looking at power forwards, LeBron is in play here as well, but Zion Williams looks solid for the Pelicans. He does have a pretty favorable matchup against Portland, though Nurkic. No, the Portland can be pretty decent against big guys at times, but they have been struggling last year. So I think he's definitely capable of a big game here, assuming he doesn't get any injuries during the game, which is definitely at risk with him. But he's definitely capable of a solid option on the slate. Looking at Scotty Barnes, without Embiid, he's going to have more upside. Now, he doesn't play the same position, but he can get to the paint and do better, and the Philly defense will be weaker. Though Drummond is no hack either, so he can get blocks. That could definitely slow down Barnes a little bit. But I definitely think that he's in a good spot and could try and play off of Zion Williams, even though Zion's a little bit cheap, a little bit more expensive. But if you want to get a little cheaper, you can go with Jalen Johnson for Atlanta. And this favorable matchup, he's going to have a lot of upside, though he is priced pretty much where wouldn't want to pay more, and he does have a low floor. However, he does have a high ceiling today, so to keep that in mind. Caleb Martin, who is also available today, is an interesting play. If he ends up playing for Philly, I think he's probable at this point. But if he plays, he should have some utility today, as he should get some run. And he projects well, but he does have that low floor. Looking at our centers, Towns is going to be the top play at the position. He has some nice upside today at his price point. Now, he struggled in the first game, but he had a tough matchup against the Celtics. But I look for him to have a better opportunity here against Indiana, even though Indiana can be good against big guys at times. I expect him to have a better game in this one, and so he's priced down a little bit too from his last game, so that gives him upside. Andre Drummond for Philly is in play today. He has some nice upside with Embiid out. Now, the last game, he didn't quite get where we wanted, but he's definitely capable of that. So, he's definitely somebody you have to consider a lot on the slate. Trace Jackson Davis is in play for Golden State. He started last game, did very solid, and he has some more upside here, especially if Draymond Green was to miss to get some other attributes, though he was somewhat scoring dependent in the first time out, at least. But he's cheap at $4,500. Zion can also play here. And then Nurkic is an interesting play for Phoenix. I typically like big guys against the Lakers because they do struggle defensively at times against the bigs. And in 5 games last year, he averaged 33 fantasy points a game, which is over what he needs to 5x. He's definitely capable, and I do think that the Suns will go to him, and this game should stay pretty close, and he'll have some opportunity there. Looking at the ownership at these positions here for point guards, LaMelo Ball, Dyson Daniels, and Ben Simmons as shooting guards. Grady Dick, Dyson Daniels, Kelly Oubre, and Zach LaVine. As small forward, we're going to have Grady Dick, Kelly Oubre, Zach LaVine, and LeBron. Power forward will be Caleb Martin, Paulo Banchero, and LeBron. And then at center, Carl Towns, Trace Jackson Davis. So lots to choose from today. But there's a lot of value on the slate, so you can pay up for some expensive guys if you want, like LeBron or Zion. But you don't have to. You can stay in the middle of the road. But I do think that getting some cheap guys and then paying up for some, heavy hitters is probably the way to go today. And there's plenty of good options across the board in every position for that. So with that said, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. And